everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
It's just a podcast where we explore religion and politics and current events to just a couple atheists trying to survive life in these United States.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be sort of asking ourselves, what do you do when you're told about a miracle and you know it's not? You know it's possibly a lie. What do you say to the
face
person?
With the bullshit. What do you do?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So we'll be getting to that on the second half of the show. First, though, there are things that have happened in the world this last week that we need to talk about.
Sure.
And I want to start with the city of Minneapolis, where 4 of their city council members who are Muslim decided that they were going to have a community iftar during Ramadan. Right.
Now, obviously, I know what an iftar is, but for our listeners who don't.
Well, Iftar is a 1980s movie starring
Dustin Hoffman.
That's
Ishtar. That's Ishtar.
That's Ishtar. Sorry, no. An iftar is a meal breaking the Ramadan fast.
Oh, okay, sure.
Right. And so they wanted to have this community event. They advertised it as sort of an interfaith gathering. Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure. Okay, fine. We know how interfaith gatherings go. But they were planning on hosting it in the public service building in downtown Minneapolis.
Okay.
And apparently there were going to be some city funds helping to pay for some stuff. Anyway, sure. The city attorney's office got involved and was like, ooh, no, no, you cannot do that. And they were really clear. They were like, this is anyone. It doesn't matter if this is an iftar. This could have been an iftar, a seder, or a Lenten fish fry. They say the advice would have been the same, that city resources cannot be used for these kinds of events.
Right. Which is funny because the workaround is easy, which is to say, you can have a Christmas celebration as long as you call it a winter celebration or whatever. You just pretend it's something it isn't.
Yeah. You say that this is it's
just a community meal.
No more hungry meal.
It's a celebration of eating.
Yeah. They totally could have done that. They did not, however. And so they were barred from having this event. One of the city council members said that they found the cancellation very disappointing. We're going to work toward postponing and doing an event with community partners. We are not going to stop what we were going to do and breaking bread and being part of bringing our communities together. So they're like,
don't stop. Just fucking do it at the at the mosque or whatever.
Nobody's telling you can't do this thing.
Yeah.
That is not what anybody's saying. They're just saying that the government can't host this, which is 100% the right call. Thank you, Minneapolis.
Right.
The mayor got onto social media and said, implications that my office intervened to shut down this iftar celebration and did so out of anti-Muslim bias are both outrageous and untrue. Separation of religion and state is a bedrock principle of our democracy and a legal requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For at least another 3 months.
Sure. And then you can have, well, no, they won't allow iftars.
No. It's not like we're going to all of the religions are allowed to. It's just we're breaking down the wall of separation between Christian church and state.
Church and Christianity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's fine to break down.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Oh my God. Well, bummer that their meal isn't going to happen.
Well, what are these people going to do? They haven't eaten all day. Where are they supposed to go?
What is going to happen? Oh, Lord. All right. Well, I'm going to take us to, I don't know, wherever the Southern Baptist Convention holes itself up. Here's the thing. We talked about this a couple years ago. There was an investigation that was launched after the Southern Baptist Convention. They did their own look into, themselves, and they found some pretty disturbing, covering up of sexual abuse, and all these allegations came forward and all this stuff. And at the time, that, as should be the case, that raised the eyebrows of some people in law enforcement, because it turns out that sexual abuse is illegal. And so an investigation was launched back in 2022 by the U.S. Department of Justice. But I don't know if you know this, a certain somebody was elected to office in the presidency, largely by a bunch of evangelical Christians.
What?
Of which the Southern Baptists are a major portion. And the long and the short of it is that we don't know why. It's a big mystery. But apparently the U.S. Attorney's Office has confirmed that that they have ceased, that the investigation has come to a close with no charges filed.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So one hates to be cynical and just say that this was just the Trump administration saying, "Oh no, they're fine. Stop investigating them because they were nice to me." But obviously that's what happened. Anyway, no abuse charges have been filed. There have been a couple of people who were sued, not in criminal court, but in whatever what's the not criminal court called? Civil court. Thank you. So that's happening and has happened. Matter of fact, there was a guy who, and also here's another thing is that during the investigation, while it was actually happening, a guy named Matt Queen, who's a former Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary professor and provost of that institution, he pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI, and was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest. And a year of whatever supervised release is, and a $2,000 fine. Anyway, the point is, not only were they had they done bad things, they had tried to cover it up. Well, they had lied about it.
That's what you do, Dan.
Yeah, that's what they do. So that's fun for them. But now, they've got a friend. They've got an ally in D.C.
Good.
And so don't worry. There's no consequences to them now.
Oh, Dan. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I actually have a story, Dan, concerning Robert Moses. Have you ever heard this name before? He was the founder, I guess, at Gateway Church down in Southlake, Texas. Big mega church.
Love it.
He was accused of some sexual abuse. Charges came out against him, I guess, in Oklahoma. He's actually been indicted this last week in Oklahoma.
We're all very shocked to learn this.
For some sex abuse that he committed back in the 80s. Oklahoma is going after this guy. They're actually using some frontier era law to go after him. It's pretty amazing. But anyway, so some members of his church would like to take him up on a money back guarantee on their tithing that he offered over the pulpit, apparently, repeatedly, and the other people in church membership or church leadership sort of repeated the same thing of like, hey, give us 10%. And after a year, if you want it back, if you're not satisfied, we're going to give you a money back guarantee, right?
That is a bad idea, guys.
It's a terrible idea. So they are suing, and let's see, they of course have attorneys who are defending them. And they're trying to claim the court lacks jurisdiction over the lawsuit for various different reasons, technical reasons.
Mostly just, we're Christian, you can't do that to us.
But apparently the people suing can point to a sermon that he gave that there's video of where he was in Chicago during the COVID-19 pandemic. And he says, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'm sure thousands and thousands of people, and I'm sure it's multiplied, that have told me some way over the years through email, letters, whatever, this changed my life. So when I started giving the first 10% to God. Oh, this is apparently he's still kind of claiming this is what people say to him. When I started giving the first 10% to God, it changed everything. And here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to just challenge you. I've done this with our church. I've told our church on multiple occasions. I've said to them, if you'll try it for 1 year, if you're not fully satisfied at the end of that year, I'll give you your money back. With 22 years in the church, no one's ever asked for their money back. According to the plaintiffs, many people have tried and they've refused every single time.
Yeah, of course.
And so, like, with this guy in the middle of a massive fall from grace, like, it's clear that people don't want to be associated with him. They would like their money back. They invested in a specific community. And that the leader of which really fell short, morally speaking, right?
Yeah. I think that's more than falling short. I think he may have gone a little farther than falling short.
Okay, fine, Dad. But anyway, yeah. So I think it's an interesting case because, like, the Mormon Church just went through this, right? Where they had a big lawsuit that ended up getting thrown out. That was sort of asking for the same thing, saying, we gave you this money, you used it in ways that, you sort of promised that it was going to be used this way, and it turned out that you did like big, massive real estate investment schemes with it instead, and have amassed a huge. But here's the
thing: the thing about the Mormons is they were never foolish enough to say we'll give you anything back.
Yeah, and so I think this promise, it's a real interesting test in a way, right? To be like, because like if them saying that they are offering a money back guarantee, if that is not enough for people to get their money back, if it's just, well, you gave it to a church in tithes, so you kissed it goodbye, which ultimately, you kind of did.
You kind of did. I mean, I did. I have made peace with the fact that the Mormon Church got a bunch of my money and I will never see it again. And that's that.
A bunch of your teenage money.
A bunch of my teenage money, which granted, yes, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
More than I wanted to give, more than I'm happy about them getting. I'll say that.
But when your allowance is $10 and you're having to give $1 of it to the church.
Yeah.
Right. And you're left with only $9, Dan.
Oh my God.
How are you going to go buy that CD that you want? Or cassette tape, as it probably was.
Oh man, you're aging us. We're that old. We are that old. That's true. Okay. Well, good luck to all of those people. I hope they get their money. And we'll see. I'm going to take us back to, listen, we've been following closely the saga in Oklahoma of Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Waters, guy who you definitely uses gel and a comb for his hair. He's been trying to buy Bibles for the schools, for the kids. And look, he's being reasonable. All he wants is 55,000 of the most expensive Bibles he can get his hands on.
That would also filter money to Donald Trump.
That would filter money to Donald Trump. I don't see what the problem is. Just because this Bible happens to be $60 and other Bibles can be $1 or $3. And also, there's not supposed to be Bibles in every classroom. I don't know what the problem is. But not only do we object to this, Oklahoma objected to this.
Oh.
Oklahoma's Republicans said no to this. He had like $3 million earmarked for it, but he wanted an extra $3 million. And he went to the state and said, "Hey, give me this money. We're all in agreement, right? That we should give Bibles to the 7-year-olds." At which point, the very Republican state government of Oklahoma said, "No, what are you doing? No." So now he's got a new plan. I don't know if you know this, Frank, but the official title of this Bible is the God Bless the USA Bible. And that turns out to be a reference to to a horrible song from the 80s by Lee Greenwood.
Yeah.
And Lee Greenwood is a huge Trump fan, and apparently, because his phrase, God Bless the USA, is emblazoned on these Bibles. And, just to remind listeners, these are the Bibles that also have the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Pledge of Allegiance printed in it for no good reason whatsoever. Anyway, Lee Greenwood is now helping with this because he's fucking he's part of the company. He's going to make money off of this. But apparently they're trying to get private donations. Like they're trying to encourage the public to buy Bibles for Oklahoma schools. So now, if you wanted to, and I think you do, Frank, you can go to the Bibles for Oklahoma campaign, which actually links to the God Bless the USA Bible website.
Ooh.
Where you can pay for a Bible. Now, what's amazing about this is they're not giving. There's a whole thing about because this is being purchased Bible by Bible by good caring Christians all over the country.
Yeah.
For the kids, they're not offering any bulk discount for these. So they have found a way. Lee Greenwood has found a way to make the full amount of money. Like if you buy over 250, it even says on the website, if you buy over 250 Bibles, you get a discount. You get a bulk discount. Lee Greenwood has found a way. It's such a cash grab to make sure that he gets paid the full amount for every fucking Bible.
That's amazing. This whole thing is just, I hate it so much.
It's astounding.
It's so disgusting.
It is so bad and so wrong.
You have
in every way.
The superintendent guy who's just attention starved, wants headlines left, right, and center.
Well, I'm pretty sure he was gunning for a cabinet post or something.
Yeah,
and got nothing. He got fucking bupkis. But then again, the way Trump goes through cabinet ministers, I'm sure he will be the Secretary of Education soon. He'll get his turn.
You presume there will still be a Department of Education.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Her job, what's her buckets? Linda McMahon's job is to shut it down.
Is to get rid of the Department of Education.
Trump told her that, and she's like, "Yeah, let's get it done."
Sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds perfect.
So yeah, it won't be Department of Education.
No,
it'll be something else.
He'll be
one of the two remaining departments
ambassador to Moldova or something.
An ambassadorship. Yeah, that's what. Let's get the guy out of the country. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, this is an interesting story that has a lot of legal moving parts to it that I don't want to get caught up in because I'm not a legal expert.
What?
I know, and I would just get something wrong. But what the whole story is about is New Jersey trying to impanel a grand jury to investigate the Catholic Church for clergy sex abuse.
Oh dear.
Now, other states have successfully done this, right? The story specifically talks about Pennsylvania using a grand jury to go after the Catholic Church there, and that they were able to uncover about 1,000 children, cases of children being abused over 7 decades, right? So when the New Jersey Attorney General decided back in like 2018, 2019 to do the same thing, they thought it was a slam dunk, right? Like, yeah, let's do this too.
Because every New Jerseyan is going to be fully on board with this idea, with going after their beloved
Catholic Church. Anyway, the diocese, however, was able to squash it. They were able to persuade trial and appellate judges that a state grand jury had no authority to issue anything like this against a private religious entity, and that all court records in the matter should be sealed.
Wow.
And it has been up until this point, when the New Jersey Supreme Court this last week has ordered the records to be unsealed and have agreed to hear arguments this next month about impaneling a grand jury. Does the state have the right to impanel a grand jury when looking into the wrongdoings of a religious organization? This is essentially what I'm understanding from this article.
Yeah.
It got a little legalese, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but because it's pretty technical stuff, right? It's hinging on these ideas of, these legal concepts.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. But anyway, this is a really interesting one, because obviously if their Supreme Court says, oh yeah, this is something that can go forward and should, then a grand jury can be seated and they can start looking into this stuff.
Yeah.
And
which they should. And
they will find stuff.
Because if you have a diocese.
Yeah, absolutely. But also the fervor with which the Catholic Church fought this and has been fighting it.
Oh my God.
I suspect there's something bad there to be found.
Not only that, it is shameful. Yeah. To fight this when you know that they're going to find something, instead of just saying, listen, hey, let's cooperate. Yeah. Let's make this right. It just shows where their priorities are. Yeah. They don't give a fuck about the victims. Yeah. All they care about is making sure that they don't look bad. Yeah. It's shameful. It's shameful.
And the thing that they could do that would actually make them look better in the long run would to be turn over the list.
Yeah.
It's just be like, yeah, these are the ones we know about. Here you go.
Yeah, we are going to cooperate with you in every way that we can.
Yeah.
The end. Yeah. That's the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
We're just going to cooperate. And
let the priests who did bad things, very bad things, be held accountable for them.
Let them dangle. Let them be held accountable. Yeah. It's so stupid. Okay. Well, speaking of being held accountable, I'm going to close this off with a story that actually involves just a small, tiny amount of accountability actually happening. And that is, do you remember the name Peter Popoff? It sounds fake. It sounds like a fake name.
Did he pick a peck of something? Or,
He did. But that's not what we're talking about today. Peter Popov, I first became aware of him because he was the guy who used to do these big rallies. Like there'd be, he'd have a big thing and there'd be thousands of people there. And he'd have these he'd have people fill out forms about themselves. What do you want to pray about? What's on your heart and blah, blah, blah. And they would fill out these forms with their addresses and their names and all this stuff. And then he'd come out onto stage. And apparently people didn't put two and two together. He would magically, from the Lord, know these people. He would be like, I feel like over here there's someone named Martha. Is there someone named Martha over here? And they'd be like, I'm Martha. And then he'd say, I feel the Lord is telling me that you're worried about your grandmother's sciatica. Is that right? And oh yes, I'm worried.
Did the amazing Randy, did he do a thing on this guy?
That's what happened. Yes.
Okay.
So James Randi, eventually what they did was they ran a radio scanner.
Yeah, okay.
And happened to find the frequency where Peter Popov's wife was like talking into his in-ear thing and being like, okay, honey, the next one is Joe. He's sitting in the third row on stage right.
I could love this story so much.
They literally, so they have recording of her like feeding this shit to her. Which obviously was the end of his career. Wrong. Nope, it wasn't at all. Even though he was fully exposed as a fraud, he still managed to have a decades-long career afterwards and continues to.
That is unbelievable.
It's just, yeah. I mean, like that. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about humans, I don't. Or at very least some useful information about how humans work.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the thing about Popov. Now he's doing the thing that, he's the televangelist. He's doing the televangelist thing. And one of the things that he's doing is he's selling miracle water. Oh. This is literally, and I mean literally, just bottles of water that they bought at Costco and then like rebranded them. Literally one of the employees said that that's what they do is buy it at Costco.
Wow.
And and this miracle water, he makes all kinds of crazy claims about it that, if you anoint your hands with it, then you're going to get rid of your health issues and you're going to, drink it and it'll eliminate your debt if you give me some seed money.
Drink this water to
get rid of your debt. Like he's making all, and here in these United States, we are used to these fraudsters frauding and openly, obviously frauding. And then people fall for it. And, the sad people lose all of their money. And he makes literally millions of dollars tens of millions of dollars a year.
Just taking advantage of the gullible.
Right. So,
I don't know. There's something truly American about him.
Yeah.
That is worthy of respect.
Right. I'm surprised he doesn't say that the miracle water has snake oil in it. Like you might as well go all the way with it. Why not say it? Anyway, there is a network called the Word Network, which calls itself the largest African American religious network in the world, which is interesting, especially since they're playing Peter Popov, who is not African American. Anyway, but apparently they also they'll show it. They're also in the UK, and apparently the UK actually has laws, and like they
protect their people from.
They don't like it when someone makes claims about how something can cure a disease, and then that thing is just fucking water. So the Word Network has been fined £150,000 by the UK's version of the FCC, which is called Ofcom. OFCOM.
Okay.
I don't know how they pronounce it. Anyway, hooray, they've been fined. That's, I think 150,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
Compared
drop in the
to
bucket.
What's happening, and not even enough to be considered to be considered a, what's the word I'm looking for? A deterrent. Maybe it's enough. I mean, it wasn't even Popov that got this fine. It was this network. So maybe it's enough for them to consider not playing Popov anymore on the thing. But yeah, that's as good a news as I have for you, friends, is that there's a little bit of protection happening to some people, a little bit in the world.
Somewhere in the world. Not here. Not here. Not in the United States.
Oh, no. No.
Wow.
All right. Well, friends, if you would like some miracle water, please send money to us or write to us and tell us what you think about it. This or any of our stories. It's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank, we've had some folks write into us, so I would like to address them.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Assuming that you're okay with that. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is make the font bigger because I'm old. All right.
Poor Dan.
Here we go. This is from Jessica, who writes, "Hi, Frank and Dan. I moved to the UK from Virginia during COVID." How do you move during COVID? I don't know.
Wow.
It was a rough time, and your podcast really helped bring consistency to my life. Now you're one of the few windows I actually pursue into life in the United States. Oh. Selfishly, since November, I often avoid the news. I get it. She goes on to say, I know this topic comes up often. Who are the nuns? Are we growing? How do we replace what religion gives us in our lives and communities? Mm-hmm. I recently saw a poll from the Wall Street Journal surveying 12,000 people and discovering that they validate some known trends and also some encouraging new perspectives. They identified a group of dones. This is nuns who were done with religious and not confused or questioning.
Oh, no. Okay, good.
And I just thought that was such a great way of putting it, because I think there, I know that there are a lot of people who yearn for something that they got from their religion, for some sense of things in their religion. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of us that don't, that are just fine. We are done. Yeah. So Jessica had a quote from the article here that says, "For the dones, the absence of God and spirituality doesn't seem to negatively affect their mental health or well-being in any way. The share of dones who agreed with this statement, 'I feel I do not have much to be proud of,' was 20%, statistically the same as among Protestants or Catholics." So I think that's an interesting thing. We just need to get people over the hump. We need to get people done.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
you're
maybe
you're not just a nun. You're done.
You need to be a done.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not as, maybe that's easier said than done for many. But yeah, I mean, that sort of comports with my feeling and my experience, which has always just been that, like, once I really processed myself out, once I really sort of sorted through my feelings and all that sort of stuff, nothing in me wanted anything from any religion at all. Like I have no part of me that needs any of it. So I don't know if that's your experience. I assume it is.
Yeah. But yeah, that's wonderful.
All right. Well, we had a couple of people write it last week. We talked about that Texas school that was so proud of their non-vaccination record and all that stuff. And I was trying to, anyway, we had some people write in. Krista says, hi, Frank and Dan. In response to last week's segment on the Mercy Culture School's measles outbreak, I don't think there was an outbreak, and Pastor Landon Schott's glee over the school's status as the least vaccinated school in Texas, I just wanted to express that while I respect Dan's uncharacteristically charitable take on the pastor's response, I think he is veering dangerously from his usual humanity is the diagnosable problem stance, a stance which has become my mantra. I suspect that the death of a child is a built-in feature of a faith-based cult's rejection of medical intervention. It supports a hierarchy of virtue within the cult, wherein the unfortunate are likely regarded as being somehow less stringent in their faith. These scenarios remind me of fictional dystopias where the morally weak members of the flock are culled to feed the fantasy that those who are spared are reaping their just rewards. It fosters conformity. If I'm way off and the tragic death of a child is written off as part of God's incomprehensible plan, the whole thing is just as stupid and just as ostracizing to the aggrieved. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you're right that there is a potential where the death of a child, because with so many of these things, the negative outcome, instead of pointing people in the direction of, it's like the pop-off thing. Instead of pointing people in the direction of that was bad and I should change how I'm viewing this, humans like to dig in their heels when there's cognitive dissonance. They like to hold on even tighter to the dumb thing. So there you go. Who knows? Francesco also wanted to write in about the same thing. Dan, Francesco only addresses me. You can turn off your headphones if you want to. Dan, it is not the responsibility of rationalists or humanists to reach out and change the minds of misguided fundamentalist leaders. Fundamentalism is not that old. It grew as a reaction to things like rationalism, humanism, secularism, let's call it modernism, in the early to middle 20th century, for reasons I suspect of power and control in the communities where it flourished. As such, its ideas are crafted specifically to resist modernism. As they are anchored in the supernatural, that is to say, nothing, they can be reworked as needed to continue the resistance. For instance, the inciting incident for this email was me finding out that there are now 2 books claiming that empathy is a sin. Yeah, I've been seeing that. That's been going around. Did you catch that?
Sick. Yeah.
Elon said that on the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah, empathy is bad. The power and control reason this position has been created in the last couple of years is transparently obvious. The stomach-churning evil of the Trump deportation policies have to be blessed by God. I get where Francesco is coming from. I first of all, I will argue with the idea that fundamentalism is new. It is not. It may have ebbs and flows, but Calvinism was fundamentalism and Puritanism was fundamentalism, and fundamentalism is just a thing that happens. I think it happens in all the dogmatic religions and even non-dogmatic religions. Now we have, you have Hindu fundamentalists, and I think it's just, there's going to be people who want to take, who are more attracted to authoritarian rules-based versions of their religions. And then there are going to be people who are more attracted to mystical versions of their religions. And it's just going to sort of ebb and flow in those directions always, until we get rid of religion altogether, which we're not in any position to do anytime soon. But yeah, I do think that as to the question of like whether it's our responsibility to reach out and change the minds of I don't know about the leaders, but I think we need to learn what lessons we can and try to do our best to get rid of, like, fundamentalism is much more a poison than religion in general. Fundamentalism is deeply toxic to all of society, and I think we need to do whatever we can to figure out how to dissuade people from believing in it.
Yeah, well, that seems like something that's also within the power, or not maybe the power, but within sort of the scope of a normal life, right? Like, you don't have access to the leaders. You don't have access to the powerful or the whatnot of an organization, but you do have that cousin maybe, or your neighbor who you can just plant good thinking bombs, you know, here and there. Better thinking, you know, than the fundamentalist thinking about, you know, things like getting their kids vaccinated and whatnot.
Yeah. Or like maybe you can convince them that trans people are not coming for their, you know, for their babies or whatever it is that they think trans people are going to do, or the gay people are just trying to live their lives and not, you know, they're not out there trying to corrupt the young.
Yeah, we just want to fly a rainbow flag.
Yeah, is it
That's
so hard?
Really, all we want anymore. Now that we're middle-aged and whatnot.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got some folks to thank. I'm going to start us off. Thanks so much. Elka is now a teacher. I'm going to say in our wonderful priesthood.
Wunderbar,
so congratulations, Elka. Thanks so much. We've got a few people who have done one-time donations. Janine, thank you so much. You are also a teacher, as I'm going to say. And Dawn, you'd think we have like set rules about what level a teacher, deacon, priest, what level of the thing, which we do over on Patreon. But like, I have to figure out what the maths work out to when you do the PayPal thing. If you do, you know, if it's a one-time donation, it's like, I don't know where to put you. Anyway, and then also Dawn it has given us multiple one-time donations, so I'm going to put Dawn as a teacher as well. So thank you all so much. You're amazing. You help to make us go, and you should feel very good about yourselves. And do you have some folks to thank as well?
I do, Dan. We have a new teacher by the name of Eric. Stu edited his membership upward, so he's now a priest. So thank you, Stu.
Congratulations.
And we have a new patriarch, Dan.
Oh, wow.
By the name of Randy.
Randy, well done.
Yeah.
You can't imagine. Randy, just so that you know, you are now the person who gives the horoscopes for the whole ward. The patriarch in the Mormon church gives psychic readings for everybody, and they all are. It turns out they're all the same, but boy, it's supposed to feel very special.
How dare you, Dan?
Yeah. And then, okay, friends, if you would like to join these people and help us make the show go and be a part of like making sure that we don't wither on the vine, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate and figure out which way you want to do it. If you want to be a patron over on Patreon, at a certain level, you can gain access to the Frank and Dan Diary, which is bonus content every week, or you can do a one-time donation or a monthly donation over on PayPal. All is welcome, and we really appreciate it. And Frank, there's one more person to thank.
There is indeed, Dan. Our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up.
All right, Dan.
Yes.
There's a problem that sort of keeps coming up, which is people make claims about things that Jesus has done for them, right?
Or things, or you know, it's not just Jesus. It's like, you know, proof that astrology works, or it's
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
People make big, bold claims.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They make them to your face.
Yeah.
Like in the world, it's like, it's fine if you read. What got us thinking about this was a stupid article in the Christian Post where a guy is literally.
Aren't they all stupid?
I mean, some of them are at least like reporting on a thing.
Sure.
With some level of journalistic integrity. They sometimes do that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. This is just a guy claiming about a miracle, making claims about a miracle that happened to him when he was 1 year old. He doesn't even remember this. This is fucking family lore.
Yeah. He's been
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a dumb claim. And it like literally, it just, you know, his mom brings this 1 year old in for an ear infection, but the Lord told her that it was more and that she should go to the hospital, and she convinces the doctor to why would they need an ambulance? But they get an ambulance and they take this 1 year, just fucking drive the kid over. But they take this 1 year old to the hospital, who has apparently more than an ear infection, though the doctor didn't find it. And then they find that they run a bunch of tests, and this is a quote. I'm just going to quote this guy. So they start to run pretty much every test imaginable, and they come back a few hours later and say, "We're so sorry. 95% of your son's blood cells are leukemia."
Yee.
Now, that doesn't sound like how leukemia works at all to me, but I'm no doctor, so I'm not going I don't think that's real. I don't think that's how I don't think that's how any of this works.
But 95% of his blood was cancer.
Was cancer.
Yeah. Okay.
According to this. The point isn't that. I don't know anything about leukemia. Whatever. The point is that the claim now has become, my mom listened to Jesus, and Jesus saved my life because I had cancer and nobody knew, and the doctor didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then boop, 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 boop.
They found it in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah. Before it was 96% leukemia.
Right, which would have been untreatable at that point.
No, there's no coming back.
Oh, Lord. So the question is, and, you know, this happens much more, if God help you, if you're in the comments section of anything online.
No, that's definitely not the place to have this conversation.
Because someone's going to say, yeah, this happened to my uncle, whatever this is.
Yeah.
And so I know that it's real. You know, someone's going to make the claim that like lemons will cure cancer. And then someone's going to say, yeah, because that happened to me personally. And it turns out that a lot of the time, like many people have made gobs of money making claims like that, and then have been exposed as liars. But the question is, what happens when someone says it to your face? Hey, my sister had cancer, and we all prayed about it, and the doctor said that there was a 0% chance that she would recover, and she's cancer-free now.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say about that, Frank?
Well,
doesn't that prove that God is real?
Well, I mean, there's the assumption that one has to say something, right? That you're, and I think depending on who the person is and what your relationship is with the person, right, is going to inform whether or not you even need to say anything. For example, if it's my mother making a claim about a cancer cure or whatnot, I think I would just be like, oh, that's nice, Mom. Right. Because we have our history of, having complicated conversations about this stuff and those conversations not going anywhere. Right.
Right.
And she doesn't make such outlandish claims. But
first potential way to handle it, condescend.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that nice? But no, if you feel the need to say something, if there's an opening for that, then I think you could ask some questions, kind of try to see what's going on there, right? Like, what exactly are they claiming, right? Like, so was there some medical intervention? Like, what were the doctors saying, right? Like,
what medical things had been performed before they were miraculously cured? Were they on chemo? Because that might have had something to do with it.
Was it medicine that's actually the miracle here? Because if that's what you're talking about, and you want to just say that's a miracle medicine, I don't like the phrasing.
Yeah, but
go have your medical miracle, right? Like, because at least medicine's involved, right? Yeah. But if this is like I don't know what somebody would think a bunch of lemons would cure cancer-wise or whatnot, but like, if that's the claim, I think that is worthy of being pushed back on, right? Of like, excuse me, what exactly did the lemons do? Yeah. Right. And I think that's important, is to like just push the person to process it a little bit. And at least just to like get them on record as to exactly what their claim is.
Yeah. Right? What was the mechanism here? How does that even work?
Yeah. Because it's super easy just to like hear crazy and think that it is like one kind of crazy, right? When it's actually a different kind of crazy entirely. So it's still nuts. It's still
so step one, get to know which kind of crazy you're dealing with.
Because there is the kind of crazy that you just sort of smile and back away slowly, right? There's that crazy.
Sure.
And then there's another kind of crazy that's just like, oh, wow, well, that's really interesting. And tell me more. And okay, well, do you think that, maybe it was the chemo had anything to do with that? Not just the copious amounts of lemonade they were drinking?
It was the lemon, Frank.
But I mean, I remember in high school, we had some real church-state separation issues at my high school. Sure. And there was this preacher who came in and came to talk at some club that I was involved in. I don't even think it was had anything to do with religion. But this preacher shows up and he starts telling us this story about his wife's. His wife had one leg that was shorter than the other or something. And that they'd been praying for her leg to. I can't remember all the details here, but he said that, and it was really dramatic. He was and then in the morning, she gets out of bed and slap! Her foot hit the ground at the same time or something. And it was so her leg had grown through the night. And now both her legs were the same legs. And I remember just sitting there being like, what in the fuck is this guy doing here? Right. And how stupid of a story. And also how impossible it is to to say anything in opposition to that belief, right?
Right, because then you're just oppressing them.
Yeah.
If you say anything, and that's the other thing, is that they will cry foul so fast. If you say, if you just deny it, they'll be like, you're an anti-Christian, you hate Christian people, blah, 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 something like that. They're fortified. They're ready for that.
Well, I would love at this point to just be like, oh, wow, do you have some before and after photos?
Yeah, show
Right?
me the test results. I would
Yeah.
love to see
Like
how that
like
came
if
about.
I feel like if miracles happen, they would have to be happening for faith promoting reasons. So wouldn't you want to be able to back it up?
Yeah.
Right? Like, wouldn't you want to be able to have evidence? Like something crazy happened. Her leg grew,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Yeah.
3 inches that night or whatever it is. Like, don't you think God would want you to be able to prove that?
It's about having faith.
Yeah, anyway.
I don't even know that I, at this point in my life, would want to challenge. I wouldn't even deny it. I would just say, I think I would say something along the lines of, that obviously means a lot to you, that story. And I get why. Like, if I believed that had happened, I think that would mean a lot to me too. But you can't expect me to believe your story that defies everything that I know to be real.
Yeah.
Based on just your word for it.
Yeah.
And also, like, and it sounds pretty outrageous. I don't think that I believe you, but I'm not going to sit here and call you a liar. I'm just going to tell you that, like, that's your experience, but I don't see how you can expect me to just jump on board with it.
To just believe it. Yeah. Just because you say so.
Just because you say so.
Because lots of people say lots of things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, this one, like, I was sitting there thinking in my head, this guy's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he has to know that he is sitting here and telling us a story. Right.
I mean,
I'm sure that he's justified it in his head because he's such a strong believer in Jesus, right?
Yeah.
A faith promoting story, even if it's a lie, if it promotes faith, then fine, good. Then it's a good thing, right?
Right.
But like,
it's
also a lie.
Yeah, and they seem to be okay with that a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, people lie for so many reasons. And that's the other, like, the internet is just, like I was saying, it's chock full of people who are just lie through their teeth about personal experience. They claim that they have a personal experience and they're just fucking lying.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you don't want to believe that somebody would just do that, would just say a falsehood directly to you about something that they're claiming happened to them. It's so weird to me. It's such a foreign concept to me to just lie at people, but they do it all the damn time. So I don't know. I personally, I mean, maybe depending on the circumstances, I probably wouldn't just call someone a liar to their face. But I would definitely tell them, no, I'm not going to believe your story.
Why not call him a liar? Like, why not? I'm sorry. Go away with your lies.
You can.
If they know they're a liar, at least then you saw through them.
Yeah. But I also know that lots of people believe their own bullshit.
They believe their own bullshit. That's probably true.
So it's like, maybe they're not lying. I mean, they're telling an untruth. What they're saying is not real, is not true. But yeah, it was one of my favorite. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. It's tricky. If you want to call someone a liar, you can, but you may be wrong. They may believe that, that it wasn't the chemo that saved them. It was the vortexes that they visited in Sedona.
Oh, I think that scenario, that's really like, I would not call somebody who was on chemo and was also doing some woo-woo shit. I would not call that person a liar.
Yeah.
Right. Because there was a lot going on there. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, I went off the chemo and because it was whatever, and then I went and I started eating tons of lemons. And now I'm still cancer free, 20 years later. because I eat 5 lemons a day, I'd be like, okay, something's not right here. That one's bad.
There's always something not right. That's definitely the case. There's always something not right. All right. Well, there you go. If lemons saved your life and you need to tell us about it, or if you'd like to tell us a story.
How did it become lemons?
No, that was a real one that was going around for a while. Yeah.
Shit.
The lemons were going to cure all of the ale. Now I think it's apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar kills. It's just going to save all of us.
Well, that one is true, Dan.
Just take a spoonful a day. You'll be fine. All right. If you would like to tell us about your apple cider vinegar story, or or any story about being confronted with woo, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. To support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
This episode was edited by Roger Gowdy, and music was provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Hey, thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.